Hello, hello, hello. It's that time again. 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Sunday morning. You know where to be. This is Jerry Taylor, and I'm presenting the master plan. We're going to be talking about week 12, week 11. I'm trying to get ahead of myself, week 12. Week 11, where all the Florida teams are on a bye. Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Miami, and the last one but not least, Seattle Seahawks. Everyone else is up and ready to play. One venue has been moved because of inclement weather. We're going to talk about that. Here we go. All right, people. It's another week of fantasy football. Hey, we're getting down. We're getting down. It's week 11. Regular season ends for most people week 14. Then the playoffs start week 15, 16, 17, quite naturally. And hopefully you're in a good position. Hopefully you're in a good position. I'm going to try to talk about some uh, injuries, game time decision for basically for the Arizona Cardinals who's going to play quarterback. Kyler Murray's dealing with a hamstring. Colt McCoy's off the injury list. And one of them is going to rock and roll. I mean, Colt McCoy is more than able to run the offense. Not like he's inept. He's more than able to run the offense. So it is what it is. All right. I'm going to go down the list of games being played and how I feel. Excuse me, how I feel about these games. How I feel about these games. All right, the first game that I want to go, I'm not going to deal with the Thursday night game. That was a debacle on the Green Bay Packers side. Tennessee Titans quite naturally run it. Derrick Henry balled out. What else is new? And Christian Watson continued his good play. Two touchdowns. All right, I'm pretty sure people have grabbed him, ran to the waiver wire and grabbed him. Somebody who's lucky enough to be at the first position or an early position in the waiver wire was able to pick him up and hopefully put him in the lineup. Okay? So I'm going to go to the first game that we have sitting out here on a red-hot quarterback that has soared up the quarterback ranks and fantasy ranks. Got off to a rocky start, but is on the top, really. Basically, he's been the number one fantasy quarterback for the last 3 weeks. We're talking about Justin Fields. We're talking about the Chicago Bears at the Atlanta Falcons. Now I'm going to talk about the home team first, and then I'll rush over to the visiting team. Because there's not much on the Atlanta Falcons that I can suggest you to play. Number one, I'm not a big fan of this guy. He's 30 plus, and 30 plus for a running back is not good. But they seem to want to push him out there and I wouldn't say feature him, but give him quality touches, both in the running and passing game. I'm going to have to give you Cordell Patterson. And with this defense, which is not that good against the pass, good against the run, not against good against the pass. We had a Drake London sighting last week. And I think they continue that trend. Atlanta plays better at home. A lot of teams do that. Play better at home. This is one of them. Atlanta plays better at home. And then on the other side, I'm going to have to give you four players, where I wouldn't even give you one in the beginning of the season. I'm giving you four players that are quality starts in here. And I'm going to start with the last but not least and then work my way up. Cole Kmet, been on fire as a tight end. Been on fire as a tight end. I had talked about him earlier and got discouraged when over and over again in the early weeks of the fantasy season, he was a non-factor. Well, that's completely done a 180. And now he is. He's scoring touchdowns, getting quality yardage, and in PPR, he's a valuable target in the tight end position, which has been decimated. Got two quality tight ends. Zach Ertz and Dallas Goedert went down last week. Two of the two top tight ends. They went down last week. And that has decimated the tight end position. Well, Cole Kmet can help you in that department. Let's talk about Darnell Mooney. They've started to open up the offense. They've opened up the offense, not started. They've opened up the offense. Excuse me. And now Justin Fields has been pushing the ball down the field to Darnell Mooney. Now you got Chase Claypool there, but just like he was in Pittsburgh, he's a hit or miss, mostly miss. Darnell Mooney is your go-to wide receiver that you want to play. If you need to put a flex wide receiver in that position, Khalil Herbert is on the IR. The only the only reliable running back option is David Montgomery. Put David Montgomery into your lineup. They can be the Atlanta Falcons can be run on. Can be run on. Ain't quite naturally. And I said I'm throwing from the bottom and working my way up. This guy's been the number one fantasy quarterback over the last 2-3 weeks at least. Talking about Justin Fields. Who would have thought beginning of the season, the way the beginning of the season started for Chicago Bears? And I'd be talking about Justin Fields, Cole Kmet, Darnell Mooney, and not so much David Montgomery, because David Montgomery is on the radar. But those other three weren't. Now they're valuable pieces. Now people look for them to get the quality fantasy points that they need to win. All right? So let's move on to the next game. I'm going to go through these, and I won't say as quick as I can, but I'm going to go through these without hesitation. Break down exactly how I feel about these. Maybe even give you a sleeper or two. But the next game is one of my favorite waiver wire pickups or handcuff that turned into, I wouldn't say gold, maybe silver, maybe valuable, at least a flex or a running back too. I would say come out of nowhere, but I like this guy when he was previously in Tennessee, and when Derrick Henry went down, was it good? Very good running back. Let's talk about the Carolina Panthers at the Baltimore Ravens. I'm going to go to the Ravens first, and then we'll talk about the Carolina Panthers. Mark Andrews, that's a no-brainer. That's a no-brainer. I mean, he's one of the top two tight ends. in the fantasy, in the NFL, and in fantasy. So you go with Mark Andrews. If you have him, if you're fortunate enough to have him, he's not on the waiver wire, quite honestly. Never been on the waiver. Drafted, never dropped. If you dropped him, that you're a fool. And I'll say that right, crap. You were a fool if you dropped him. Because he's one of the best two tight ends in all of fantasy, just like I said before. So you go to Mark Andrews. Who's going to be the running back? Is Gus Edwards coming back? Is Gus Edwards going to play? The main back has been Kenyon Drake. I'm not a Kenyon Drake fan. I mean, he's bounced around the leagues. I guess he's found a home in Baltimore. He's a flex play, in my opinion. This is a lot of guys that are running the football, and I'm thinking that Kenyon Drake is going to be the main guy. And then, quite naturally, quarterback. I mean, it's a no-brainer, Lamar Jackson. No-brainer. No-brainer. They got 3 wide receivers, one 30-plus wide receiver, Deshaun Jackson, Demarcus Robinson, a guy that came from Kansas City, and he was an afterthought in Kansas City, and Devin Duvernay, who's their number one. Come on, man. Devin Duvernay, really? Just like in previous years with Lamar Jackson being the quarterback, the wide receivers are an afterthought, a huge afterthought. So it's the players that I said in Baltimore: Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson, Kenyon Drake. That's it. Going over to the Carolina Panthers. Baker Mayfield, really? P.J. Walker's dealing with a high ankle sprain, if I'm not mistaken. That's the only reason Baker's in. And it hurts. It hurts DJ Moore. Really hurts DJ Moore. Because you can take advantage of this Baltimore secondary, but you got to have a capable quarterback. I can't even in 2 quarterback leagues, and that's pretty bad. Even in 2 quarterback leagues, suggest that you play Baker Mayfield. Come on. Baltimore is familiar with Baker when he used to play in Cleveland, and Cleveland and Baker's familiar with Baltimore. It's not going to be a pretty sight. They're playing in Baltimore. Only guy I can tell you that I like, 2 guys. One guy for sure. The other guy is a flex and is getting more and more touches. 5 or 6, 7 targets a game. And that's, I'll tell you the wide receiver first, Terrace Marshall. Terrace Marshall. You know, the main crux of the passing defense and the wide receivers is going to be on DJ Moore. And P.J. Walker has been trying to find Terrace Marshall. And he's slowly but slowly was getting more targets. And more targets, like I always say, more targets equals opportunities. And you get the opportunity, you can take advantage of it. Well, now we have Baker Mayfield. And I'm just crossing my finger. This is a I wouldn't say a shot in the dark, but it's a dart throw in Terrace Marshall. Big wide receiver out of LSU. Big wide receiver out of LSU. Highly touted. Dealt with some injuries last year. Now dealing with quarterback issues this year. And one of the best pickups that I made, and hopefully other people made, to handcuff CMC when CMC was on the Carolina Panthers, was Deontay Foreman. And to this week, people are underestimating Deontay Foreman or really not impressed. Well, he's put up quality double-digit fantasy points ever since CMC left the Carolina Panthers. Now, he's only had one bad game when they got blown out by the 49ers. And game scripts call for passing the football more than running the football. And I can see this is a running game, both on the Carolina Panthers and quite naturally the Baltimore Ravens. Dante Form is going to get his touches, especially with a quarterback like Baker Mayfield. He played Dante Form. He shouldn't be on anybody's waiver wire. You know what? He's the quality. He could be definitely a flex, and more than likely a running back too in your fantasy line. All right, let's move on to my Cleveland Browns at the Buffalo Bills. It's not being played in Buffalo unless they want to play in about 6 feet of snow. They moved they moved the site of where they're going to play the football game to Detroit. Indoor stadium. Ideal conditions for both teams. I'm going with the Cleveland Browns, who are considered the visiting team. Buffalo's going to be the home team. And this is advantageous for Buffalo, even though it may be inconvenience because both teams have to go to Detroit versus Cleveland going to Buffalo. Buffalo has to travel also. But Buffalo also plays the Detroit Lions on Thanksgiving. So this is essence. You think that they're going to stay in Detroit once they play this game? They're going to be in Detroit. So wherever they are, wherever their residence is where they're going to be for the next week, week or so. But getting back to this game, take the home team first. Stephon Diggs, Devin Singletary, because Cleveland can be run on, man. I mean, every team is just killing them. The defense has been very suspect, where we thought, and I'm talking about we as a fan, where we thought that the defense would be the strongest part of their team. With Jacoby Brissett as a quarterback before Deshaun Watson takes his place. That hasn't been the case. They have been horrible. That's why Stephon Diggs is going to eat. That's why Devin Singletary should have a very good game. He's definitely a flex in here. I wouldn't say running back too, but he's definitely a flex. And then quite naturally, Superman, Josh Allen. He's going to have a big game in here against this defense. Coming off a loss? Really? Coming off a loss. You know you're going to be pissed off. You know be really focused. That's a no-brainer, in my opinion. And we move over to the Cleveland Browns. I can't honestly tell you to play Jacoby Brissett. I can't do it. Can't do it. Not against this Buffalo team. I know they're hurting in the secondary. They're banged up in the secondary, and they can be passed on. But I don't think Jacoby Brissett can take advantage of it. But I'm going to be naming a wide receiver besides Donovan Peoples-Jones, Amari Cooper, who's the number one wide receiver, going to get targets equal opportunities. You got to play Amari Cooper. This is ideal conditions. This is not home. This is on the road. And Amari's record on the road is not good. But against this secondary, ideal conditions, no weather, everything's perfect. In a dome, I like Amari Cooper. I like Donovan Peoples-Jones. I like quite naturally, one of the running back rushing leaders in the NFL is Nick Chubb. Without a shadow of a doubt, Nick Chubb. He's one of my favorite running backs. Besides being a Cleveland Brown, he's one of my favorite running backs. So you play Nick Chubb. All right, we're moving on to the Washington Commanders. And it's just a coincidence that I get someone here who happens to be a Washington Commanders fan, who happens to be just came on the show, just appeared. I see him sitting there with some kind of shirt. I don't know what the heck it is. I'll read it when I bring him on. At the Houston Texans. And it's Mr. FSP. Let me bring him on the screen, and then we can talk about the Washington Commanders at the Houston Texans. Welcome to the show, Mr. Sarcasm.
Well, you know, some of us do have sarcasm and understand what it is. Other of us, they think sarcasm is rah, 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 rah. But anyway, sarcasm is one of my many, many traits. But yeah, I just want to tell you. For those that don't know, Jerry and I are in 2 leagues together. One we're sharing a team, and one I'm the commissioner of. He sends out the link to the league to invite everybody on. And you know, I don't do him like that. I give him a personal invite. So so he can look out to say, hey, come on, Vic, got you. You on the show. Da, 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 da. Jerry sends one generically to everybody, and you know, he doesn't have to show me any partiality or any deference, but I just wanted to point that out because I was looking for, a specific StreamYard invite, but past couple weeks it's been like, all right, just everybody. I'm just put it out there.
It's not everybody because you check mark who you want to send it to. So I sent it to two specific people. I didn't send it to everyone.
Oh, well, I mean, you don't do it individually because how do I know it's individualized? I just know it goes to the league.
Did it come to you? Did it come to you? Did it come to you?
It says a league member has invited you. But that's neither here nor there. I'm just saying,
let's go to the Washington Commanders at the Houston Texans. I'm not going back and forth with this. This is ridiculous. Anyway.
But that's the type of game it's going to be. That's the type of game it's going to be. Contentious. I bring it up that way to show that it's going to be a contentious game. I know Washington is the favorite by 3, but
wait, whoa.
What? I'm talking about the away team.
Slow your roll. This is how it works.
You just said
we're going to talk about the Washington Commanders and the Houston Texans, and then you jumped in. Wait a minute.
I didn't say anything.
This is how it works. I take the home team, and you all have always taken
the away team.
Okay, so let me take the Houston Texans because I always take the home team, which is the first thing I talk about, and then I give you a chance to talk about Washington Commanders. Okay, thank you.
I thought you set it up like that already. So
yeah, I did, but you.
I started talking about the Commanders. So
yeah, but don't you understand what I'm saying? The first thing that happens.
I know what you're saying, but it's not much to talk about the Commanders. I mean, not much to talk about the Texans, but okay.
Well, I still have an opportunity to talk about them, regardless of how much time it takes.
Ladies and gentlemen, watch how long he does this.
Regardless of how much time it takes. All right, this is who I like in the Washington Commanders. I like
the Commanders. The Commanders are me.
No, I mean this is who I like in the Houston Texans.
Yeah, okay, get it right.
Here we go. Dameon Pierce, Nico Collins, and Brandon Cooks. Yep. I like Brandon Cooks in this. And not as much as Nico, because I don't know how much into the games, notice I said plural, games, Brandon Cooks is going to be in. I know Nico is all in. He's a second year player that's come on and I wouldn't say a big part, but he's a part of this offense. It's passing offense. I can't say to play Davis Mills. I know he's the quarterback throwing the football to the wide receivers, but I like the wide receivers more than I like the quarterback. So it's Damian Pierce, Nico Collins, and Brandon Cooks. No tight end, no kicker, and there's no defense. So let's talk about the Washington Commanders. Go ahead.
Oh, I can talk now? Okay.
If you like. If not,
I mean,
I'll
I'm
move
just
on.
making sure. I'm just making sure because you
If
know how you
if
go.
if you don't like to talk about the Washington Commanders, we can talk on. I mean, we can
No,
move on.
I love talking about the Washington Commanders. So,
Okay.
as I was saying, in this game, it's going to be quite interesting because the Commanders are favored by 3, but Houston is notoriously tough for the first half and then fold in the second half. Washington today or yesterday decided to name Taylor Heineke the starter for the rest of the season, regardless of what happens to Carson Wentz, which is a very good move for the morale of the team. But the thing they lose out is that deep ball. And Terry and Samuel and De'Ami Brown, they're very good at that. But what they gain is the heart and the passion that Heineke brings. How does that help Brian Robinson, Antonio Gibson, and whoever else is out there on the field? If you've ever played a sport, be it football, basketball, hockey, whatever, that one person that brings the energy to the field electrifies everyone. And it was supposed to be the day that Chase Young returns, but apparently he's not ready to return yet again. So he might be out another week. So Davis Mills will have to contend with Montez Sweat, Payne, Allen, and whoever else is the defensive end. I can't wait to see the collisions between Jamin Davis and Damian Pierce. Because Jamin Davis is a Mack truck. Damian Pierce is a Mack truck. That could be one hell of a collision. So honestly, you're going to play all of your starters in Washington. I think you play Robinson more so than you play Gibson because the Texans can't stop the run. They can't. But we'll see what happens. Was it who was the number 2 pick overall for Houston this year? The cornerback Jerry from LSU, Shipley,
Darryl Stingley Jr.
Yeah, he's nicked up. I'm not sure if he's playing or not, but he's their best corner, and I don't think he's better than Terry McLaurin. He doesn't have the speed of Curtis Samuels, who normally gets a lot of targets anyway, and is used in the gadgets. The most valuable players for Washington in this game, in my opinion, if you get into the touches, not production, but touches, Curtis Samuel and Antonio Gibson, because I think they're going to touch the ball more so than Brian Robinson and Terry McLaurin. And Logan Thomas is back, so we'll see if he gets in the mix.
I know he didn't get any receptions last game. So
he had 1 or 2 receptions, but it was like for 3 yards or something.
All right, let's move on to the next game. Excuse me. Philadelphia Eagles at the Indianapolis Colts. I'll take the Colts. Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, Mr. FSP. You got the Eagles. How was it?
Ladies and gentlemen, see that's what I mean. He gives you nothing but a name, but it's okay. It's good for him. So the Eagles, listen. If you know Tribe Called Quest, they got a song called World Tour. I'm on a world tour with Muhammad Man. Got each and every person with my mic in my hand. And they pass the mic around to everybody to get their piece in. That's what Philly's going to do this game. They're going to pass the rock around to everybody so they can get their piece in, especially after losing the way they did to Washington. They're going to have to stop the run. That's why they got Linval
Joseph.
Yeah, Linville Joseph and Ndamukong Suh to help out Fletcher Cox. And Davis should be back in a couple weeks. But that's 4 defensive tackles designed to stop the run. They ain't worried about the pressure on the quarterback. They're looking at stopping the run. If they can do that, it's going to be a world tour with AJ, my man. Jalen Hurts throwing the ball, putting it in his hand. Everybody eats, I believe. But if you're looking for one in particular, Miles Sanders. I think Miles Sanders eats.
All right, let's move on to the next game. The New York Jets at the New England Patriots. Patriots are looking for a 14 game winning streak against the Jets. They haven't lost in the last 14 games against the freaking Jets, which is unbelievable. That somebody got the one team's name like that. That's crazy. Anyway, I'll take the New England Patriots, unfortunately, and Mr. FSP will take the New York Jets.
Why do you say unfortunately?
Unfortunately, because there's not too many options, in my opinion, that the New England Patriots have. I like Ramondre Stevenson. I like Jacoby Myers, and that's about it. Jacoby Myers has been the target machine for whoever's been the quarterback. More zappy than Mac Jones, but I think Zappy, who was back up to Mac Jones, woke up Mac Jones to say, "Look, this is the guy you throw to," and that's Jacoby Myers. And that's why Jacoby Myers is their number one wide receiver and the target monster. Doesn't score a lot of touchdowns. But he is a PPR monster, I should say. So I strongly urge anyone who has got Jacoby Myers, if you don't have any better choices to play him, or Ramondre Stevenson, because Damian Harris has taken a secondary role. And I think they're going to put the team in position, whether to score touchdowns or field goals. Nick Folk, he's playing Nick Folk, the kicker. They're playing home.
Nick Folk. Okay, I thought you said Foles.
No, Nick Folk.
Okay, it sounded like you said Foles instead of Folk. That's why.
All right, Mr. FSP, you got the Jets.
Ordinarily, I agree with JT, but there's a report that Matt Patricia admittedly said that the offense has taken a step back this year, and again, it's a new scheme. So it's going to be tough for them to do things. With that being said, Jacoby Myers is still that PPR machine, but Sauce Gardner, who's only allowed like 13 receptions all season on him, should be guarding him when they go man to man. I think they go man to man quite a lot. So that's going to be a good matchup. Young versus young. Myers got a couple years on him, but Sauce is pretty damn good. On the offensive side of the ball, the Jets will be better suited to make this a shootout because Mac Jones does not win shootouts. You've got Robinson at running back, who I said is the lead running back yesterday, because Carter isn't, but he's getting parts of it. But Robinson is the lead running back. Corey Davis is questionable. I don't know if he's playing. I believe he is. And if he is, that sucks for Garrett Wilson because Garrett Wilson was eating while Corey Davis was out. Corey Davis is Zach Wilson's favorite target. I also think, and Jerry didn't mention it, and for good reason, I understand why he didn't mention it because they weren't productive. But I think this could be a tight end game for both teams. Conklin should get a little bit, and I think Jano or Hunter Henry will probably get some because that was something that was mentioned in a report earlier that Patricia was saying was lacking, the production at those positions for New England. Listen, I think the Jets have the way better defense and can play lights out. But I thought that last time. And Mac Jones came out and threw the ball around and they won in New York. So just be careful. But the Jets have a very good defense. I'd play them just in case.
All right, let's move on to the next game. And this is How the mighty have fallen. How the mighty have fallen. I'm talking about both teams. How the mighty have fallen. I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams at the New Orleans Saints. Oh, I'll take the Saints. Mr. FSP will take the LA Rams. Alvin Kamara. Oh my God. Last 2 weeks, Alvin Kamara has not shown up. Horrible. Not shown up. What makes Alvin Kamara now compared to the early parts of Alvin Kamara is he needs receptions. Running the football, he's not very effective. But the catches, then that's why it's very important that Andy Dalton is playing versus Jameis Winston, who likes to push the ball down the field. Andy Dalton is a dinker and a dunker. Very strong in the short game, medium short game, which is falls into excuse me, Alvin Kamara's wheelhouse. So I'm thinking that's going to happen in this game. I like Alvin Kamara in this game. And believe it or not, I know Chris Olave has fallen off, but welcome back Jarvis Landry. I like Jarvis Landry in this game. I like him a lot in this game. Just like I said, Jarvis Landry is a possession wide receiver. A possession wide receiver. That falls into Andy Dalton's wheelhouse. Tight end, Jarvis Landry type of wide receiver. I like Jarvis Landry a lot in this. Taysom Hill, and he's a boomer bust tight end, quarterback slash, whatever you want to call him. Swiss Army knife. That's who I got. I got Alvin Kamara, Jarvis Landry, and Chris Olave. Talk to me, Mr. FSP.
The Rams are in dire straits. No Cooper Kupp, and without Cooper Kupp, that offense is looking bad. Allen Robinson should be the number one target. They're saying that Van Jefferson is going to assume that role, but you know, a receiver that's been in there already is that Schwartzky kid. I think that Schwartzky kid could be a secret play if you're looking for somebody to play and you don't have Allen Robinson, you don't have Van Jefferson. Tyler Higbee should be taken up. Thornick, there you go. I know it's a weird spelling name, but Higbee should be taken up. You don't know what running back's going to touch the ball or how often they're going to touch the ball. Matthew Stafford's coming back, gunslinging, but where's the dependability? He's going to have to lean on somebody that's going to catch the ball a lot and not be a sometime. That should be Allen Robinson. Henderson, my man, ACL guy. I can't remember. Say again.
Cam Akers, who's
Akers, and the other person, you know, not too high on them. And I'm not playing that defense, not at all. That's what I got, player.
Okay. Let's move on to the next game.
Go ahead.
Let's go on to the next game. The Detroit Lions at the New York Giants. I got the New York Giants. Mr. FSP got the Detroit Lions. And Detroit, since they're not playing at home, they're playing in New York. I like Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley left. Saquon Barkley right. Saquon Barkley up the middle. And that's what their offense is. Now, in my opinion, I know I've liked Darius Slayton in the past, and I like him in this game because the offense of the defense of the Detroit Lions is very bad. And the Giants should be able to move the football with Saquon Barkley running the football, and Darius Slayton and a sleeper in Wan'Dale Robinson. I like Wan'Dale Robinson in this. Most people have been downplaying Wan'Dale Robinson and promoting Darius Slayton. Okay, I like Wan'Dale Robinson in here. To me, he would be a good flex play. This is if any game to play Wan'Dale Robinson in the flex, it's this game against this defense because you got what's it, Jeff Okudah, if I'm not mistaken, is the DB in Detroit.
Yep.
He's probably going to be playing Darius Slayton, and Wandale Robinson is going to be playing the second or third DB. I like Wandale Robinson in this game, and Daniel Jones can be a two quarterback league. You can put Daniel Jones in there. That being said, Mr. FSP, you got Detroit.
Detroit. I actually love Detroit in this game. I don't like DeAndre Swift. I don't like. I mean, I do like Jamal Williams. I do like my man. Jesus, St. Brown. That's what I'm trying to think about.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, I said St. Brown. That's his last name. I'm trying to do two things at one time, bro. But the question is this: can they do it with smoke and mirrors? Can they do it with smoke and mirrors? Because the Giants are. The Giants are. I will tell you this. Jared Goff is not a good play here. I'm pulling the Jerry. Let me just make that clear. I'm pulling the Jerry. Jared Goff is not a good play here, but St. Brown, Williams, Swift will get in there too. They're going to be decent plays. That's the difference. I don't think they're going to have that great of games, but I would play them, especially when you're looking at bye weeks and players on bye weeks. So that's what I got for you.
All right, let's move on to
the kicker as well. Play the kicker because they get in position. I think yesterday Q was talking about it was going to be a shootout type game. I don't think it is going to be that type of game. Not with the Giants and Detroit. But
temperatures are going to be mid-30s.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a shootout. I don't think it's going to be a shootout.
In that stadium, which has swirling wind, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on to Las Vegas Raiders and the Denver Broncos. I got the Broncos. Mr. FSP's got the Raiders. You know what? You play Russell Wilson. I like Russell Wilson against this horrible Raiders defense. I don't know what the heck happened. I don't know what the heck's going on with the Raiders, but this defense there is no defense. There's 11 bodies on the field that are claim to play defense, but do not. So I'm playing Russell Wilson. Melvin Gordon, come on, man. Come on. People, I've seen lineups where people have still played Melvin Gordon. Why? He's a used up running back. He's useless. But still they put him in a running back 1 or running back 2 position. And they don't even put him in the flex. They put him in running back 1 or running back 2 position. Makes no sense to me. I do not like. I know this defense in LA is really bad, but Melvin Gordon is that much worse. It's that much worse. If I was to play anybody in here, I would be playing Latavius Murray. It seems like he's got more get up and go versus Melvin Gordon. I like Courtland Sutton. He's been steadily getting same amount of touches or opportunities from Russell Wilson. And this kid here, Jerry Jeudy's out. Kendall Hinton. There's no KJ Hamler. There's no Jerry Jeudy to play. Kendall Hinton.
I apologize, Q. And I was trying to type it, but I thought he said it. Go ahead.
Anyway, and I'm not, you know what? I know this guy's been one of Russell Wilson's favorite targets, but I don't think it's going to be in this game. Greg Dulcich.
The tight end?
Yeah. So I can't recommend playing Greg Dulcich. He laid, if I'm not mistaken, laid a big fat egg last game. So, Mr. FSP, you got the Raiders.
First, I apologize to Q because I thought he said this was going to be a shootout game. but I got to look back at the video. Uh, the Raiders, the Raiders, the Raiders, the Raiders, the Raiders, the Raiders. Listen, Derek Carr put it on uh, his teammates, and we learned from Q yesterday that there's some talk about Darren Waller not participating or giving his all. And he's a game time decision again today. So that's kind of rough. When on the field, one of the most dominant players at the tight end position. Um, but when he's not on the field and Hunter Renfro's not on the field, you got Mac Hollins and uh, Adams at the receiver. Moreau isn't that big of a threat at the tight end position, but you got Josh Jacobs. And people know how to stop Josh Jacobs by loading a box, double covering Adams, who can be double coverage, but then they expect Mac Hollins and Moreau to pick up the slack. It's not happening. But you got to play these players if you got them. Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, and Adams. You have to play them. I mean, you're left with nothing else. So I hate to say it because I thought the Raiders were going to be like dominant this year, but they're not. So
there's a lot of dysfunction going on. Maybe the coaching staff or the head coach, something. I mean, let me put it this way: the last time Josh McDaniel was the head coach was in Denver, and there was a lot of issues. Now he goes to the Raiders, AFC West, still AFC West. There's a lot of issues. What's common there? The head coach.
The head coach.
That's the common denominator. There's got to be something going on that is.
When he was in Denver, he could blame it on Tebow. He can't blame it on Derek Carr now.
Well, that's my point exactly. I mean, you go to two head coaching jobs with two decent teams, and decent teams turn to hot garbage. What's the common denominator? Like I said, like you said, it's head coach. Okay, yep. But now we got an owner in that seems like he's in love with Josh McDaniels. Seems like he's in love with Josh McDaniels, and it's looking at blinders.
You got to think about it in this sense, Jerry. Think about it in this sense. Al Davis was loyal to the people he hired. He didn't have a quick, pull of the cannon string. I'm quite sure his son is the same.
Well, as long as he saw some light in the tunnel. If he ain't seen no light in the tunnel, he pull you in a minute.
Well. Here's what I'm saying about that. There is light in the tunnel, but it's like they're starting over again because it's a brand new system, just like Matt Patricia was saying in New England, right? And I talked about this several times. I don't know if I talked about it on this show, but Derek Carr seemingly doesn't pick up a system right away. It takes a couple years for him to pick up on a system. So I got that. But I think if both survive the year, going into next year, you'll see some market improvement. But again, will Josh Jacobs be there? Because now they got to find a pounder, right? Will Hunter Renfrow be healthy? Will Darren Waller be healthy? Because there's a lot of issues going on with let's call them Oakland. A lot of issues going on with Vegas, injury-wise, and stuff like that. I wish Q was on so he could talk about it per se, but I think there's light. It's just the expectation from last year to this year is totally different. Last year was the third year in that system, and Derek Carr looked like he knew everything that was going on. He looked like he knew everything was going on. He doesn't look that way in this system, and nothing you can do about it other than hope that he's still there, and the system is catchable.
All right, let's move on to what I think is going to be a shootout in here. We're talking about the Kansas City Chiefs at the LA Chargers.
It's all good.
I got the Chargers. I got the Chargers. Mr. FSP's got the Kansas City Chiefs. And there's a lot of fantasy goodness going on here, people. We're talking about Justin Herbert. Moment of silence for Justin Herbert.
He's not the only one we need. Hold on. He's not the only one we need to throw up points. Now, here's the deal. I'm going to tell you before you jump into it. Week 1 or week 2 or 3, whenever, we need that one minus the rib injury. Minus the rib injury. He put up points that game.
I totally agree. I'm not even going to dispute it, not even going to fight it. Justin Herbert, please, please, please. And Austin Eckler, please. I'm looking for both of those guys to have a big game. This Kansas City Chiefs defense can be scored on, can be moved, the ball can move against this team. They know this, they know the Kansas City Chiefs well. And they know this division opponent, and I expect this to be a shootout. You know why I expect this to be a shootout besides Justin Herbert being a quarterback and Austin Eckler being a running back? The 2 wide receivers have come back. He's got more options to throw to. You got better options to throw to. Mike Williams is supposed to play.
Coming back?
Keenan Allen's coming back.
Okay.
And also, quite naturally, Joshua Palmer's there. But Mike Williams, Keenan Allen are supposed to play. Let me put it that way. I know for a fact Mike Williams is coming back. Keenan Allen? Huh? This week. This week.
So Mike Williams coming back this week.
This week. Mike Williams is coming back this week. Keenan Allen is supposed to be coming back this week. He's got his main 2 targets coming back along with Austin Eckler. I expect this to be a shootout. A shootout. Mr. FSP, you have the KC Chiefs.
Well, this is the game that Q said was going to be a shootout. Now, listen, Q was right yesterday about UCLA and USC, right? He was absolutely right. They didn't get 100, but they were damn close to 100 yesterday evening.
Really?
Dude, this final score was like 48 44. Yeah. What? There's 92 points scored, bro.
92 points? What was it over under?
75.
Oh my God.
And at half, it was only a total of like 30 points scored. So they scored 54 points in the second half.
Oh
Nobody punted in the second half.
Are you serious?
Well, USC punted once, but that was with like 3 minutes left or something like that.
Who won the game?
USC.
Okay.
But
how was the quarterback?
Williams is that dude. He's from DC. Expect a DC dude to be a DC dude. Understand?
Okay.
He's actually a Heisman candidate.
I know that. That's why I asked how do you do.
Okay. But I say that because, like Q said, a shootout's coming in this game. Even though the main targets are 500 yards passing, between the 2 or individually. It was individually. But Pat Mahomes has a new toy in Kadarius Toney. Juju's down. Hardman's down. So it's MVS, Kadarius Toney, and never forget Travis Kelce. They've got a power running back now that they're using to set up play action. And Pacheco, CEH is not touching the field that much.
He ain't touching the field at all. Well, he was nowhere to be found yet last week. Nowhere to be found. And I had remember a few weeks ago when they acquired Kadarius Toney, I had said that they're going to use him like they used Tyreek Hill. He's the replacement for Tyreek Hill. May not be Tyreek Hill, but he's the Tyreek Hill type.
Yeah. And we were trying to figure out who was going to, lose time, but it's injuries actually, because Christian Watson is still getting on the field. He's just not. I mean, he's still a rookie. But anyway, uh, I think this is going to be a no defense type game. So
Speaking, go
Pat
ahead.
Pat's going to get his. I I think Kadarius Tony goes over 100, maybe even 150. I think Kadarius Tony goes over 150. Why are you praying on that? We're not facing Kadarius Tony.
I'm not worried about that. I'm just praying because we need we need help. We need help. We need some help.
Well, if you won last week, we wouldn't need that help, but it's
Oh,
okay.
look, we can't. Yeah, okay. Yeah, here we go.
Sarcasm,
Yeah,
just
okay.
one of my many traits, talents,
Yeah,
I should say.
yeah, okay. All right. Speaking of another, I think it's going to be somewhat of a shootout. Is the Dallas Cowboys at the Minnesota Vikings? They have a little better defense, and I think that may temper some of these expectations. I'm taking the Minnesota Vikings. Mr. FSP is going to take. I'm not going to say it
Yeah,
because the fact is, even though you said it a couple times and I didn't say anything, you're going to take the Dallas Cowboys.
okay.
Some people have more class than others, but that's okay.
I do
I
have
got
more
Kirk
class.
Cousins.
I have more class. You're right.
I have Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook, Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and the third game in a row, TJ Hawkinson putting up viable fantasy points in this contest. I told you at the beginning of this season, people, I love this offense. I love this offense that has been brought over um, with the new head coach for the Minnesota Vikings. And I haven't been proven wrong. These guys have been putting up points and are very fantasy viable. All five of these guys. Five of these guys. Cousins, Cook, Jefferson, Thielen, Hawkinson, more Hawkinson and more Jefferson than Thielen, but Thielen is in the mix because of uh, Justin Jefferson and TJ Hawkinson. I mean, this is to me. This is going to be a fantasy feast if you have uh, a piece of these players in the Minnesota Vikings. Talk to me about the Dallas Cowboys.
So the Dallas Cowboys defense is leaky a little bit, and this is not a game where you want them to be leaky. Um,
It is
but
if
here's
you're
the thing.
Minnesota Vikings.
This is the thing. Minnesota's coming off that big win versus Buffalo last week. They're playing the Cowboys this Sunday. Then they play New England on Thursday. I would not be surprised if you see a little bit more of Matson in this game because they want to preserve uh, Cook for Thursday, especially if they get out to a lead and it doesn't seem like Dallas can jump back on. But Zeke's back. Zeke is back. And with Zeke being back, he and Tony Pollard are a very good 1-2 combination. But that also helps out CD Lamb, Gallup. And if you notice, Schultz has gotten more targets lately from Dak. But Dak's numbers are not that stellar. He had one really good game when he came back. Uh, this is game 4, I believe, of his return. And he's pedestrian unless he's running the ball. And one thing that was said during these pre-games is they've noticed Dak is not moving as much and running as much. That's cool. You got to play him if that's who you got. But if I had Dak and I had, let's say, Derek Carr, like somebody I know has, I'm probably playing Derek over Dak.
Come on, man. Stop.
This is a Jerry. I'm giving misinformation, just like Jerry. But except on his show, not my show, which happens to be 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. Pacific Time on Saturdays, called Fantasy Sports Politics, soon to be solely on StreamYard, Yahoo. I mean, not Yahoo, YouTube, Twitch, LinkedIn, Twitter. By the way, I'm going to do a sidetrack, JT. Elon Musk just said the people spoke. 24, 26 million people, whatever it was, voted to have the former president of the United States have his Twitter account reinstated. So mean tweets and a bunch of lies. Here we come. I tie that into the Dallas Cowboys because I don't like the Dallas Cowboys. But it happened. It's a big announcement. He made the announcement late last night.
Is there anything else?
On this game? No.
Okay. All right, let's go to a division game.
I do got one thing. Can we, since Q can't get on because he's working, at the end of the show, can you give the people his Q's teasers before the game start? Or is that something you don't want to do?
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay. I just thought because Q's a part of the man, he part of the family. You got to see. You one of them family members. You come to the Thanksgiving dinner with Tupperware, and that's it. That's what you do. You just receive.
You got a problem today? What's going? I don't understand. I don't understand. Yeah.
No,
I mean,
no, I got a problem.
You can't get banned. You know that, right?
I'll just go to Twitter.
I don't care. You can go. I don't even go to Twitter. I have this handle here, but I hardly ever see it. Anyway, Cincinnati Bengals at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Cincinnati coming off of a bye, playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Let's talk about Pittsburgh Steelers first, and Mr. FSP can talk about the Cincinnati Bengals. Come on, Tyler. Anyway, Kenny Pickett can't play him. Cannot play him. Najee Harris
can't play him.
Najee Harris. What are we going to get from Najee Harris? That's what I'm saying to myself. What am I going to get from Najee Harris? I'm in the throes of in one of my other leagues of trading away Najee Harris to get a quality wide receiver in a package, and what Najee happens to be that. But he's the main back. Let's talk about Jalen Warren getting more touches. Okay. Just like a lot of other teams, they have a main back, and they have a back that they like to put in to change the pace. That's what I think Jalen Warren is. He played George Pickens because these two rookies have a hookup. And he played Deontay Johnson and Pat Fairmouth. I've said this before, and I say it again. The best friend of a young quarterback is a tight end. And Pat Fairmouth is that tight end. So you play Najee Harris in the flex, George Pickens, Deontay Johnson, and Pat Fairmouth. Mr. FSP, you got Cincinnati Bengals. Come on, Tyler Boyd.
Well, they're not going to be Cincinnati Bengals this game. They're wearing their iced uniforms, so they'll be the Cincinnati Zebras. But they're going to play like some mad Tigers. People think, it's not often Joe Mixon runs for 5 touchdowns or gets 5 touchdowns in a game. But I think even though TJ Watt is back, they're going to have to utilize Mixon's run game to help slow down that pass rush. Tyler Boyd is that dude, along with T. Higgins. But the real sneaky play, I believe, is going to be Hayden Hurst. Even though he hasn't been sneaky, I said it in the preseason, ladies and gentlemen. I said it. Hurst is the new C.J. Uzomah. Why the Jets have not used C.J. Uzomah the way that Cincinnati did, I have no idea. because the guy's a big target. But Hurts is a guy that can and will perform in this game. So I expect to see him explode. I can't tell you that my guy Burrow's not going to get sacked because if you look at the first game of the season, you saw how crazy that was. Jamar Chase was a non-factor until the last quarter, I should say, and overtime. But this year or this game, that's going to have to be Higgins or Boyd to help those guys move. And they got to make some hay with Joe Mixon. But the play, I'm telling you, is the one that nobody's really thinking about or may not be thinking about, is Hayden Hurst.
All right, let's move on to the last game of the week. It happens to be the Monday night game. The San Francisco 49ers visiting an Arizona Cardinals, another division matchup. I've always liked division matchups. Doesn't make a difference what these records are. Obviously, you see that in past week with Washington Commanders and Philadelphia Eagles. Doesn't make a difference. Division games are different from regular season games. Regular games that two teams are not in the same division. But this is not the case. This is a division game where the Arizona Cardinals don't like the San Francisco 49ers and vice versa. I got the Arizona Cardinals, lucky me, and Mr. FSP got the San Francisco 49ers. Do I play Kyler Murray in this? Ooh. San Francisco is one of the teams that allows the least amount of points per game from the opposing team. So points and plays are going to be at a premium for the Arizona Cardinals. Do the Arizona Cardinals, and it's a game time call, do the Arizona Cardinals play a injured Kyler Murray or a Colt McCoy? Both capable of running this offense. Either way, I think they're going to try to run the football and keep the ball away from the San Francisco 49ers, who have a lot of weapons. So James Conner, I know the San Francisco 49ers are stout against the run, but I still say you play James Conner. DeAndre Hopkins is a nightmare. Even though he's up there in age, he still has ways of getting himself open to be available for Kyler Murray or Colt McCoy. Rondell Moore has been coming on of late. And then Marquise Brown, if I'm not mistaken, is supposed to be playing this game. That's a lot of mouths to feed. The main one being DeAndre. So you play DeAndre and you play Rondell Moore, guy coming off an injury, usually gets transitioned to the offense slowly. I can't say in good faith to play Marquise Brown in this game. And then, quite naturally, Mr. George Kittle. I mean, not George Kittle. I can't. You know what? We've talked about this guy before. I've talked about this guy. I picked him up in one league. The rookie tight end. Rookie tight end. He had 90% of the snaps last week after Zach Ertz got hurt early. They become accustomed to throwing to the tight end. I'm going to say Trey McBride. Trey McBride. You're looking for a tight end. Zach Ertz is gone. Dallas Goedert is gone. And you want to take a stone's throw. Somebody's snoring. You want to take a stone's throw. You want to take a stab in the dark? Trey McBride. Okay. It's just as good a shot as any. Mr. FSP, you got the last one, the San Francisco 49ers.
Debo, Brandon Ayuk. I mean, you already talked about these players, but it's okay. Debo, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle, CMC, Elijah Mitchell, Jimmy G. That's a lot of talent on that field. One ball. But the 49ers find a way to spread it around. Elijah Mitchell had, I think, 16 touches last week, which is pretty damn good, considering you still got CMC you got to feed. You got to play all these guys. That's why I wasn't worried about getting another running back in this other league we're in. I was trying to see who's going to give me a big fish. I had Elijah Mitchell just waiting in the wings. And he's going to spread his wings and fly away to the end zone I'm waiting for.
Are you finished?
I said no, I can't say. I'm saying Elijah Mitchell is going to be that guy. He's the guy that I think is going to surprise everybody in this game. I think he's going to outperform CMC.
All right. That be the end of this about fantasy football. Before I leave out of here, I'm going to give you Q's teasers that we introduced yesterday on the FSP show, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Saturday morning or Saturday afternoon. Anyway, this is Q's teasers. Eagles minus 0.5. That's a half a point. Chicago plus 9. And Chicago and Atlanta over 43. Kansas City and Los Angeles over 46. Dallas plus 4.5. And the Rams.
You talk about my dog.
and the Rams and New Orleans under 45. I'll go through that again.
Yeah.
Eagles minus a half a point. Chicago plus 9. Chicago, Atlanta over 43. KC, LA over 46. Dallas plus 4.5. And the Rams and New Orleans game under 45. That's Q's teasers.
So just to let everybody know who does not know what a teaser is when the teams get 6.5 points plus 6.5 points. That's why the what do you say? Philly was negative 0.5 because they're favored by 7 points, or they're favored by 6 points, something like that. I don't recall. 7.5, 6, something like that. But that's where the numbers are coming from, just so you know. All right. Teasers are normally 2 to 6, sometimes even more games that you play. It's a bigger chance to win, less money at the payout, though. But it gives you an opportunity as the person who's placing the bet to have a good shot at winning. And please gamble responsibly. We do not control any of your finances, things of that nature. If you have a problem, call the gambling hotline in your area. But just something to think about.
With that being said, tune in next week, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, where I'll be talking about Week 12 in fantasy football. And 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on a Saturday afternoon or morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Pacific Time, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to be the FSP show. With that being said, I appreciate you joining me, Mr. FSP, with a little input from our other entity, which is Q. We call him Q. And with that being said, enjoy the weekend. Good luck. And rack up them wins. See ya.
Yay! You kidding? Hit the 5 button. Are you playing music or something? Can't hear anything. I don't hear anything. So since I can't hear it, I take it you guys can't hear it. Only Jerry can hear it.